The vote happened today in the UN on the Cuba embargo. You know what the vote was?
Yeah, it was a predictable vote in line with past votes.
Yeah, exactly. But just for the record, let's say it was 187
Yeah.
to 2, one abstention.
I am aware.
The one abstention wasn't even a Pacific Island nation; it was Moldova.
Yeah, I'm aware of
Two.
the
So
long history
you-
of UN votes on this matter.
Yes. Okay. So, at what point, though, are you guys going to realize that the entire world, with the exception of you and Israel, thinks that the embargo is a really bad idea and should be stopped? Okay. And are you comfortable then with it's just once again, it's just you and Israel standing up?
Certainly, we would welcome other countries sharing our opinion in this, but we're not blind to the history of countries around the world having a very different view of this matter. Long predates this administration, but as I said, we make our own determinations. And with that,
What about the Obama administration? Disagreement. Were they wrong?
I don't have anything to comment on previous administration decisions. Thanks, everyone.
American activist Aysen Nur, it's been 53 days since she was killed by Israel and there has been no accountability. Can you update us on what is the U.S. doing regarding this and whether the Secretary has raised this with Israelis last week?
So ultimately, this is in the first instance, an investigation that's being conducted by the government of Israel. We know they are conducting a criminal investigation into this killing. We have made clear how concerned we are about the fact that she was shot while attending a protest, an incident that never should have happened, never should have been killed under these circumstances. You've heard us say that publicly. We have also been quite clear with the government of Israel about that privately. I can tell you that we have engaged with them in recent days about the status of that investigation. We understand that it is still ongoing, and we're continuing to press for a conclusion of that investigation that provides a thorough answer. And as soon as we have an answer from the government of Israel, you will certainly hear from us about what we think about it.
And, there are increasing calls for an independent investigation into her killing. I understand that, it is the Justice Department, not the State Department, is responsible for launching an investigation. But can the State Department at least investigate whether, U.S. supplied weapons were used in her killing?
So I think as a matter of first principle, it's important that the criminal investigation that's ongoing right now proceed. In no way does waiting for the outcome of this ongoing criminal investigation preclude any action by the U.S. government if we think such action is appropriate. And that includes further reviews on behalf by the State Department into the use of weapons. It includes any other types of reviews by our government or by any other. So all that is to say, we are as impatient for answers about what happened as anyone. We take very seriously the death of an American citizen under circumstances in which she never should have been killed. And we are pressing to get an answer, but an answer that's thorough as soon as one is available.
Just one more on that. And the Secretary, after her killing, called on the Israeli army to change their rules of engagement. And clearly, there has been no change in this regard. What will happen? What is next? Will there be any consequences?
I would direct you to the government of Israel to speak about their rules of engagement. We've made clear that this was an unacceptable incident and it shouldn't happen again, and they should find ways to address it. But as to what they've done, that really is a question ultimately for them. Go ahead.
Thank you, Matt. In light of concerns of the Iranian regime desire for a total extermination of the Jewish state, and by only asking for a ceasefire, is the U.S. State Department preventing the unconditional surrender and defeat of Iran? And I have a follow-up.
I think we have made clear that we are committed to the defense of Israel against Iran. And if you look at the way we have backed that up, it has been through actively participating in the defense of Israel. And not just participating in the defense of Israel, but taking action to hold Iran's proxies and Iran itself accountable for its actions. And that includes more than 700 sanctions since the beginning of this administration.
Okay, does the U.S. stand in way of the IDF attack on the oil and nuclear facilities of Iran?
We made very clear, you heard from the president, that he did not believe attacks on nuclear facilities or attacks on oil facilities were a wise choice by the state of Israel at this time. And if you look at what could have happened from that nature of attack, it's easy to for people to sit on the sidelines and say, oh, it's a perfectly appropriate attack for the government of Israel to make, not thinking through what the consequences of such an attack would be, and the fact that Iran would respond, and then Israel would respond, and soon after that we would find ourselves in a full-scale regional war, which is certainly not in Israel's interest or in the interest of anyone in the region.
But just on the attacks on the oil, the reserves of Iran, wouldn't that make it more or less likely for dealing with getting rid of their resources?
We believe there is a better way to address that, which is why you saw the United States impose sanctions on Iranian oil, on the Iranian oil industry, including on its fleet of ghost ships in just the past few weeks. And with that, Sean, go ahead, and then we'll wrap for today.
Sure. Completely different region. I was wondering if you had any comment on Venezuela and Brazil. Venezuela has withdrawn its ambassador from Brazil because Brazil put a veto on Venezuela entering the BRICS. I realize the U.S. obviously is in the BRICS, but it's over the election and whether this was something that was discussed as a pressure tactic.
I will admit that I'm not tracking that development, so I'll take it back and get you an answer.
In that region, semi in that region, and so the vote happened today in the UN on the Cuba embargo. You know what the vote was?
Yeah, it was a predictable vote in line with past votes.
Yeah, exactly. But just for the record, let's say it was 187
Yeah.
to 2, one abstention.
I am aware.
The one abstention wasn't even a Pacific Island nation; it was Moldova.
Yeah, I'm aware of
Two.
the
So
long history of UN votes on this matter.
Yes. Okay. So, at what point, though, are you guys going to realize that the entire world, with the exception of you and Israel, thinks that the embargo is a really bad idea and should be stopped?
Look, I think we are quite clear on the opinion of other countries around the world, and it's one with,
So
which,
that-
we, and it's one with which we disagree. We take their opinion seriously, but we make our own policy determinations.
Do? It's 32 years in a row, with the exception of 1 year when you guys abstained. That was
we
2019.
we take their views quite seriously, but we make our own determinations
know
about
what?
these matters,
Oh,
and,
well,
and we
then
disagree.
You take their views quite seriously? That's just not borne out by the facts that you continue to persist with this.
We take them seriously, but we make our own decisions on the policy and others. So.
Okay, and are you comfortable then with it's just once again, it's just you and Israel standing up?
Certainly, we would welcome other countries sharing our opinion in this, but we're not blind to the history of countries around the world having a very different view of this matter. Long predates this administration, but as I said, we make our own determinations. And with that,
What about the Obama administration? Disagreement, were they wrong?
I don't have anything to comment on previous administration decisions. Thanks, everyone.